like them. I think that's one of my gifts as a human being.
You see beauty in everything.
I do. I'm just
everything is beautiful.
I'm like Christ in that way.
I always thought you were very Christ-like.
Beard, around 30 years of age.
Yeah.
Enjoy the next 3 years, bro.
Yeah, because after that it goes downhill fast. So that's After Earth.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks you'd like to make about After Earth?
Not really. I feel like we covered it pretty well. I like James Newton Howard's score. I thought it was really
pretty good.
nice.
Yeah, really. I enjoyed it a lot.
C minus.
Yeah, a lot of people. So many people.
If I had a kid, I'd show it to him and see if he liked it. After a certain age, maybe about 6 or 7.
You mentioned there was a review that you read that got you interested in watching?
Yeah.
It? Was it from Badass Digest?
No, it was actually HitFix. It was Drew McWeeny.
Oh, that's right. You told me. Yeah.
He gave it a B minus, and he said, if this had been released in a certain time frame, there would be a group of kids who'd grow up loving it the way that they love The Goonies, or all those movies that are basically aimed at kids and hit kids square between the eyes, but aren't necessarily good movies.
Yeah.
Like The Sandlot, or
Sandlot's a good movie
because it is essentially a boy's adventure film. Yeah. It's about a boy, a young boy who has to accomplish something.
Nut up.
Yeah, basically, who has to
become a man.
Yeah. It's an initiation story. So I really like what the movie's trying to do, even if it doesn't always succeed. I really admire the ideas that went into it, even if they do lead back to Xenu.
Xenu.
You know what? If Christ is a good way to get a story, Xenu actually is for sure a story.
Yeah.
So why not? Written by one of the most beloved sci-fi authors of all time, if you believe the back of his books.
And if you also believe Mitt Romney.
Yes.
Battlefield Earth, according to Mitt Romney's his favorite novel.
Paul Ryan, his running
Not even his favorite sci-fi novel.
He's like, this is the best.
It's like, Crime and what? The Great Who?
He's a Mormon, but he loves the sci-type book.
That's crazy.
What's also even crazier is his running mate, Paul Ryan. Wasn't that his name? Yeah. Atlas Shrugged was his favorite book, which also stupid book, but so much smarter than Battlefield Earth. Like, it's like night and day the amount of brains that went into one.
That's not to get too political.
Yes.
To quote Mrs. Chang from Rushmore, the whole I'm pretty sure as far as like the Tea Party movement goes, like them and Ayn Rand, they're thick as thieves.
Right. She'd probably think they're ridiculous, but they love her. She hated the libertarian movement in her time. So think about that if you're in the Tea Party. Think about whether your hero would actually like you or not.
Think about that.
Think about it.
Trek Talk?
Yeah, let me grab another Coke Zero because I got a problem.
Will you get my Kickstart, please?
Yes.
I need a new Kickstart. So we started The Next Generation last week. We're going to continue with The Next Generation this week and next week and the week after that. This week we'll be discussing The Naked Now, Code of Honor, and The Last Outpost. Naked Now being pretty much a next generation
remake.
A next generation remake of The Naked Time.
So much so that they actually go back and read about the original case in the computer file.
What happened,
so that they can solve the problem. Although it doesn't really solve the problem.
I wasn't feeling this episode.
I really enjoyed it.
I didn't. I thought it was too much of a remake. And while there's a difference between a remake and an homage.
It's pretty much a remake.
And I can handle an homage. Remakes just you gotta come correct, man. You gotta 311 said, you gotta come original.
I don't think it's that much more egregious than Star Trek Into Darkness, though, which is a remake on some levels of Wrath of Khan. I guess it's a more direct remake than Star Trek Into Darkness, though, because at least in Into Darkness they flip some archetypes. They make some deliberate changes, whereas this one's pretty much a play-by-play remake, except it's the main characters instead of some random ruddy-faced Irishman fucking shit up.
It's Geordie LaForge going fucking nuts.
It starts with him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you got it so damn hot in here.
I laughed out loud, and I'm like, man, that's awesome.
I enjoyed this one. I especially enjoyed the scenes with Tasha Yar and Data. I thought that was very cute. Where again, I was surprised how early in the show they got into Data's sexuality. Whether episode 2. If you listen back to episode 16, the mega size episode, with all of our Austin buddies, most of them.
Mary Beth quotes this episode when Mary Beth and Rob,
they bring it up.
They say like, oh, he's fully functional and programmed in
multiple techniques.
Multiple techniques, and I'm like, oh, that might be like
that sounds like a season 5.
Yeah, like they might like that's something they're digging in deep.
Roddenberry's like, let him know his dick works from Jump Street.
Like,
he tried to get it into the
after
pilot.
episode 1, after Counter at 4 point, like, did you talk about Data's dick? Like, no, we didn't. Like, it's gotta be in episode 2. You gotta have the dick. And they're like, geez.
Also, Denise Crosby. I mean, not to get too sexist on the show, but when she's wearing the tummy bearing thing, she's ripped.
Yeah,
like she's very lovely lady.
Very lovely.
Also, I thought her acting got a lot better this week. I feel like of all the episodes this week, I feel like it's like she's settling into more of a groove. They figured out what her range is, and they're actually writing to it for the most part.
I don't know. There's just something about that haircut, man. I don't know what it is.
It's very of its time.
Yeah, it is, but I like it.
Does it turn you on?
I don't know if I'm like va boom,
or you just enjoy it. You're like, this reminds me of a happy time.
Well, like she has like that Josie Bassett from Melrose Place haircut, and
right.
kind of like not Winona Ryder, a single white female. Who was that?
I don't know.
Who was that woman?
Kathleen Turner. I don't know.
That you're thinking of V.K. Wachowski or whatever that was. Bridget Fonda.
Bridget Fonda.
I drive a Honda Fonda.
Bridget Fonda short hair.
Exactly. That kind of like hairstyle, but
right.
but even more like Josie said because she's blonde and it has like the dark like under hair, whatever that is. I don't know. I'm not a hairstylist.
She's Bing Crosby's granddaughter. In case anybody listening didn't already know that. I think we actually know less about Star Trek than most of the people listening.
For sure. I know for sure I do.
So it's basically like a bunch of geniuses listening to a couple of subnormals try to work out some basic facts.
And loving it.
Laughing at our foolishness. It's like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
So Data's got a fully functional dick.
Mm-hmm. I also enjoyed the flirtation of the captain and
Jean-Luc and Beverly Crusher.
What I liked about this episode, more so than the original, is that you can see right from episode 2 that they are actually developing characters.
Yeah.
That they are growing relationships. And I liked that this episode actually gave them opportunities to talk about and show things and plant things or grow them a little bit. Like Wesley's ability to take over the ship.
Yeah, he takes it over like because he's like, this is what I want, and forcibly takes it over.
Right, but
to the point where Picard's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, no, it's cool, man. I got it.
Just tell me what you want me to do. I'll do it.
I got it, dude. It's under control. But yeah, that is true. Like in the original, in the Naked Time, like Sulu's greatest desire was just a fence without a shirt on. Like that was his jam.
Right. That they actually use it for character purposes. But
and that Irish guy, his greatest desire was to get drunk and
sing ballads.
Yeah, and sing "Oh Danny Boy" over and over. But in this one, it's like, hey, like I want to fuck. Like, oh yeah, me too. And like I want to run a ship. Like I want to do this. I want to do that.
Yep. I that's what I liked about it. Like for me, it felt like. Also, I don't know if it's because I watched it as a kid, but like,
do Dana and Tasha, do they bone down?
Yeah, they have sex.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because she comes to him at the end and she's like, "I'm just going to say one thing." It never happened.
That's right, yeah.
But he actually smiles and stuff in this episode. And at one point, after they've had sex, he comes back to the bridge and he's kind of grinning like he's drunk. And like, I think they even bring it up. One of the characters, that maybe Worf is supposed to say something like, where he says something like, it shouldn't affect synthetics, or it shouldn't affect. But there's also a line that made Becca laugh a lot, where Worf turns to Data and goes, "I don't understand the humor either." Like somebody's made a joke and Data doesn't get it, and Worf chips in. He's like, "I don't get it either."
Worf is always wanting to do one. He's always wanted like to fight, face a problem directly, and everyone's always telling him to shut up.
I mean, I guess it might count as a spoiler alert, but his role becomes a lot more defined once Denise Crosby leaves the show.
Yeah, for sure.
So he really gets a chance to shine.
So yeah, they find the cure. Wesley.
What is the cure?
How
do they use the compound? They look up in the logs like, here's what happened in Star Trek Season 1. And they use it, but it doesn't work. How do they adapt it?
Oh, I don't remember.
I'm going to look it up. You can talk about Wesley for a second.
Well, yeah, he takes over and Picard. I mean, he helps basically kind of solve the problem. Like
Right.
he is able to figure out a way to
Well, they're towing that
move,
ship.
to move the ship, and Picard has to like give him credit. He's like, hey, thanks. How old is he supposed to be? Like 15, 13?
I think he's supposed to be 13.
12, 11?
I think he's 13. But it's Tsiolkovsky. Tsiolkovsky? I can't pronounce it. I'm sure somebody will write in. Or we could watch the episode again and find out. But they're trying to tow the ship, but they realize like they're going to get hit by this supernova. So Wesley turns the tractor beam around, puts it in reverse, and that gives them enough push-off to get away. I also really like Data reshuffling the cards.
Yeah.
I guess he's just putting them in every possible configuration until they find the one that works.
Probably.
It felt very cinematic. It felt more exciting than the old show.
This episode got a lot of bad reviews.
Really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, they said that it's someone said that there's nothing in the episode as entertaining as Sulu bare-chested with an epee, whatever.
A rapier?
Well, it says ape, but yeah, like the fencing sword. And Wesley being nerdy in the engine room is nowhere near as fun as Riley singing.
I mean, I guess you're right. It's not as much goofy fun as the original, but it's a different show, so it kind of it takes its own approach to the subject matter. I'm not saying it's the best episode. I'm just saying I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it more than the other two we watched this week.
Will Wheaton himself said that Trekkies looking for reasons to hate Next Generation found plenty in this episode.
I like that he actually... I think they've got a note about him, at least in all the episodes we've watched so far. There's always a note about his views on
I think he reviewed like the first season or two
for AOL back in 2006 when AOL was still almost a thing.
Was still like it was just about ending as a thing.
Time Warner, like.
Remember when it was like AOL Time Warner?
That's what I was going to say. It's like they're like retiring There was a point in time where AOL was so powerful that Time and Warner Brothers teamed up to buy it and bring it into the fold that they needed. Like, I guess it just goes to show you don't know what's going to be important in 10 years. Like, Google might be done in 10 years. We don't know.
Yeah,
like, it's so pervasive right now.
And that's the thing. Like, and Facebook has only been around for less than 10 years.
It's been around 8 years, maybe.
I mean, well,
I signed up in 2005, but it was around.
But no one had it. Like no one uses. Like
it was MySpace.
Like my other friends who are
Friendster.
Like my other friends who are in college, I guess are on this, but that's it. Like like I can't scam on high school chicks. So what the fuck is the point?
Exactly.
And once Facebook's like, all right, anyone can sign up. Like, all right, well then I'll start using it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I remember I had both, but I checked my MySpace like 10 times a day. I checked my Facebook maybe once a week. And I don't know when it shifted. It might have been whenever our friend Walter was like, I'm done. Like, because you remember his MySpace said Walter quit MySpace, and that was the name of his page after that. And it just seemed like by around 2007 or so, that's when the shift really happened, I guess, for at least our group.
Yeah.
By 2008, I was still checking my MySpace.
I think by that point, more people were getting on to Facebook. And like I said, that was the thing. Like it used to be only for, like, you had to sign up with your college email address. I never used that because I was like, I only get, notices about school shootings. School's on lockdown. There's a shooter on campus. Like,
oh, good.
Like, great.
Guess I'll stay home.
Guess I'm stuck in the Wooten Hall. That's a UNT joke for all you mean Green Eagles.
You Dintonians.
Next episode, the Code of Honor.
Now you want to talk about an episode that sucks.
Code of Honor. Is it racist?
Yeah, let's get into.
Let's just jump right into that.
Give your take.
Okay, well, it's a basic plot. There's an epidemic. There's like a swine flu. 3000 is going on. Anchiles fever on Styrus 4. The anchovies fever is going crazy, killing like millions of people.
Right.
They find a vaccine. They had to go to a planet to get a vaccine, and Tasha Yar is captured by the people of that planet.
Ligon 2.
And they have to, basically, like, he's like, I'm going to take her as my wife. And his wife, and his then wife is like, whoa, fuck that, I want to fight her to the death over this.
Right.